let's talk about something that underpins pretty much all the knowledge we trust: research ethics. And I want to get one thing straight right away. This isn't about bureaucratic red tape that's just designed to slow down discovery. No, it's the complete opposite. It's about building a solid foundation of trust, so we know the results we're seeing are the real deal. And that's such a critical question, right? I mean, our world is just flooded with information, with studies and data coming at us from all sides. Think of ethics as a kind of compass. It's what guides us toward credible, responsible work. It's what separates knowledge that can actually help society from information that, well, could cause real harm. At its core, research ethics is basically a code of conduct. But its reach is way wider than you might think. See, it's not just about protecting the people who are being directly studied. It's about safeguarding anyone who might be affected by the research and what it finds. It really is a framework of deep, deep responsibility. So when a researcher runs into a tricky ethical problem, their decision-making process is usually guided by one of two major philosophical approaches. You can almost picture them as the two opposing poles of a moral compass, each one pointing toward a different way of defining what's right. Okay, so on one hand, you have the rule-based approach. For these folks, the rules are absolute. An action is either right or wrong based on those rules, period. The potential for a good outcome can't justify breaking them. But on the other hand, you've got the consequence-based approach. This view argues that the ends can justify the means. An action is considered ethical if its positive outcomes outweigh the negative ones. And this right here, this is the core tension that researchers are constantly navigating. All right, let's bring this down from the clouds of high-level philosophy and into the real practical world. These two ways of thinking inform an absolutely essential toolkit of principles. These are the fundamentals that every single researcher has to follow. No exceptions. The first one, and you could argue it's the most important, is informed consent. The key here is that a person's agreement to participate has to be fully informed, it has to be thoughtfully considered, and, this is crucial, it has to be freely given. That means the decision can't be rushed, and there can be absolutely zero pressure. The power to say yes or to say no rests completely with the participant. So what does being informed actually require? Well, it demands complete transparency from the researcher. They have to explain everything: the purpose of the study, who's running it, what's expected of the participant, any potential risks or benefits, and above all, it has to be made crystal clear that a person can back out at any point, no questions asked. Another core principle is the active avoidance of harm. Now, this isn't just a passive, hope for the best kind of thing. It's a deliberate process. Researchers have to do a really rigorous risk assessment before they even start. They have to consider every angle, not just physical harm, but potential emotional, social, or psychological distress. The goal is always to anticipate and minimize any possible negative outcome. You see, ultimately, these principles don't exist in a vacuum. Informed consent, avoiding harm, respecting privacy, maintaining confidentiality, they're all woven together. They work together to build that essential foundation of trust between researchers, their participants, and, well, all of us, the public who will eventually rely on their work. But research today has expanded way beyond the controlled environment of a lab. The internet has opened up this vast new frontier for study, but it's also a total minefield of new and really complex ethical challenges. One of the most pressing issues right now is this practice of data harvesting. This is when a researcher basically scrapes information from online communities, like forums or social media groups, without the members even knowing about it, let alone giving permission. This is considered a serious ethical breach. It's really a form of deception. And this gets to the heart of a really tricky modern dilemma. Just because information is publicly accessible doesn't mean it's ethically available for research. There's a huge difference between a person sharing a post with their online friends and them consenting to have that same post used as a data point in a formal study. This raises a really crucial question for our digital age, doesn't it? When it comes to research, where do we draw the line between public and private? If someone posts on a public website, have they just waived their privacy rights? The consensus and ethical guidelines is pretty clear. No, they have not. All of this makes it obvious that ethics isn't just a single hurdle you clear at the start of a project. Not at all. It's an ongoing consideration, a constant companion that has to be part of the thinking at every single stage of the research journey. And that ethical journey starts right at the beginning, from the moment a research topic is first thought up. It weaves through the design and planning phase, where things like consent and risk are mapped out. It's there during data collection when participants' rights are the top priority. And it continues all the way through the analysis and reporting, making sure findings are presented objectively and anonymity is protected. It's a continuous process from start to glorious finish. So you might be thinking, why does all this matter if I'm not a researcher? Well, it matters because we are all consumers of research every single day. In the news we read, the policies that affect us, the health advice we follow, understanding the ethical foundation of that research is what empowers us to be critical, informed citizens. At the end of the day, acting ethically is so much more than just filling out a form for a review board. It's a mindset. It's rooted in integrity, in respect, and in a profound sense of responsibility, both to the people involved in the study and to the pursuit of truth itself. That commitment is what separates rigorous, valuable knowledge from just information. So I want to leave you with a final thought to take with you. Now that you're equipped with this ethical toolkit, the next time you see a headline about some new study, what's the first ethical question you'll ask about how it was done? Because learning to think critically about how knowledge is created, well, that's the first step to truly understanding its value.